Recap Star Army, buckle up because today's story is an absolute wild ride. We're diving deep into a film packed with twists that will keep you on the edge of your seat until the very last second. But before we unravel this masterpiece, I need a huge favor from you guys. Smash that like button, share this video with a friend who loves movies, and drop a comment below. I want to hear your thoughts on this one. Now, let's get right into the action. The movie kicks off with Rais brushing his teeth, grabbing his bag, and heading to school. He walks into the classroom like any clueless student, and the teacher tells him, "Stand up and read what's written on the board." He stands there dumbfounded, not understanding a thing, and the teacher says, "Let's hear your voice, son." He looks at the board but can't see anything because in reality, his eyesight is weak, buddy. The teacher hits him, then he goes home to his mom and she takes him to Dr. Parsi. He tells her, "Don't be afraid, Amina, your son just needs glasses." She asks him, "Are these glasses really necessary, doctor?" Rais tells her, "I swear if you don't buy me the glasses, I will never go to school again. I can't see what's written on the board and that savage teacher over there hits me every single day." But of course, his mother doesn't have the money for the glasses, so they leave the doctor and walk away. Afterward, Rais gathers his buddies and they go to the museum to steal the glasses right off a statue. Rais jumps inside the museum and goes to grab the glasses from the statue, but suddenly the security guard spots him and chases him. He fails to catch him though, and Rais escapes the place. Then he takes the glasses and goes to the doctor, who tells him, "Son, these are plastic glasses. Come to me tomorrow and I'll give you real ones." He says, "I don't have money for these glasses." The doctor asks, "You don't even have 2 rupees?" He replies, "Sir, we are poor. My mom is an old lady and there are days when we go to sleep without dinner." The doctor is touched by his situation, so he pulls out his wallet and gives him money. "God bless you for the poor, doctor." And sure enough, Rais goes back to him the next day. The doctor gives him the glasses and Rais is over the moon. He goes to his buddy Sadiq and says, "Look man, I can see everything perfectly. I even see Leader Gandhi over there. And there's Qasim wiping the car." Suddenly he screams, "Oh my god, quick man, the cops are gonna raid Elias's den. Our business is in danger." He runs down at top speed, heads towards the police cars and stands right in front of them. He pulls out his whistle and blows the alarm. Elias realizes the police have arrived, so he and his men quickly hide their booze. The officer raids and searches the place but finds absolutely nothing. He comes outside and tells Rais, "Come here, boy, so you stand in front of the car and whistle?" and slaps him hard. Right at that moment, Rais's mother shows up and runs towards the officer asking him, "Why are you hitting the boy?" He tells her, "Ask your criminal son, woman." He adds, "You let him roam the streets with his whistle thinking he's in the Indian International Stadium." His mother takes him and leaves. They go home and she tells him, "Poverty is terrible, Rais. You have to take care of yourself and work, and your work shouldn't be small, it has to be big." Rais listens to her intently and these words are carved into his brain. The next day, on his way to school, Sadiq asks him, "What are we gonna do now that the government busted our boss?" He says, "We'll sell booze. Do we know how to do anything else?" Sadiq asks, "Who are we gonna smuggle booze for with Elias in jail? Aren't you scared you'll end up like him?" He replies, "The government only busts those who sell fake booze. But us, boss, we're gonna sell imported liquor. We'll work with Chief Jairaj. And this Jairaj is the liquor mafia boss, buddy." At that moment, he calls his assistant and asks him, "What's with all the chaos outside?" He tells him, "There are a lot of cops today, boss, and we won't be able to get the goods out to the dealers." Suddenly, he hears a voice from behind saying, "And what about someone who can deliver your goods exactly where you want them?" He looks behind him and finds Rais. He asks him, "And who are you, you little mouse?" One of his men says, "No, boss, this kid used to work with Elias, and honestly, he's a pro and you'll like him." He looks at Rais and asks, "The shipment is 6 bottles. Will you know how to smuggle them?" He replies, "I'll take 3 rupees for each bottle." Another one of his men tells him, "Are you dictating terms to us, you 4-eyed battery?" He says, "Don't mock me or I'll kill you." Jairaj tells him, "Chill out, I agree. I'll give you 3 rupees per bottle." They go inside and pack the bottles in the back. On his way out, he takes a compass out of his school geometry box, walks up to the guy who made fun of him, and stabs him in the airbag just so he never calls him a battery again. He actually heads out to deliver the order and breezes through the police checkpoint with total ease. They deliver the goods and head back to Jairaj, who is thrilled with their cleverness on the job. He tells one of his men, "Starting tomorrow, these kids are with us. This boy is a pro and his future is wide, wider than the hole in your ear and the rest of you." Many years later, Rais grows up and shows up with a brand new update, pretty much wrapping up a torture session. Jairaj calls Sadiq and tells him, "There's a problem with our incoming shipment. Go tell Rais to handle the officer at the checkpoint and fix this mess." Rais indeed goes to the checkpoint and slips money into the officer's pocket, saying, "Your pocket was empty and I filled it, right?" The officer says, "Right, brother." He tells him, "All right then, fill the truck's tire with air just like you emptied it." He asks, "Are you joking?" Suddenly, Rais punches him in the face, knocking him down next to the truck's tire and says, "Fill the tire with air or else, and next time don't cause problems or else." Afterwards, he goes back to Jairaj, who tells him, "Come here, my lion, you always bring me good luck." He replies, "I'm not your lion or anything, I'm just your servant, and this servant has decided to work for himself." Jairaj is shocked and asks Sadiq, "Did your buddy drink the stash you just got through the checkpoint or what? Talk some sense into him." He replies, "I told him to drop it, but boss, he's dead set on working solo." He says, "All right, and since you're working solo, Rais, you definitely need goods from me. Come sit next to me. How much stock do you want, Rais? 500,000? 400,000? 300,000? He says, "No, I'm starting from the very bottom. I just want 100,000's worth." He tells him, "Okay, hand over your money and take the goods." He speaks to him calmly and says, "I don't have any money. You're going to give me the goods and then I'll give you the money." He shouts at him, "So you're broke, got no cash, and you want to work alone?" Everyone laughs at him. He tells him, "You've got 3 days, Rais, to bring the cash and take the goods. Show me where and how you're going to gather the money. And take this watch, because the countdown has started." After this embarrassment, Rais leaves his place, but his brain is turning, figuring out how to raise the 100,000. He goes to the local mechanic in their neighborhood, takes a car worth 100,000 from him, and tells him to hang tight until he can get the money together. Then he goes to a farm and trades the car for a herd of goats. Sadiq asks him, "What are you thinking? Looks like you're taking us straight to ruin." He says, "I'm going to sell the goat herd for a huge price." He asks, "Who's going to buy from you in this poor city?" He says, "We're not selling here, we're going to Mumbai." They actually head to a market in Mumbai, and he asks a guy, "Can I sell my stuff next to you here?" He asks him, "Did you get permission from Boss Musa?" He says, "No, I didn't." He tells him, "Then pack your things and get out of here." Sadiq says, "We're just going to sell our stuff in this corner and leave." He says, "Are you deaf? Beat it, boy." And then Rais tells him, "It's Eid, and we came to trade just like you guys." He replies sarcastically, "Happy Eid, sweetheart. Did you fall on your eye and ear when you were a baby? Beat it, kid, with those searchlights you're wearing." Oh my God, do you think Rais is just going to let it slide and walk away, buddy? I swear it won't happen. He grabs a leg of lamb and goes on the attack, swinging at him left and right until he breaks all their bones. He puts his glasses back on and finds a guy pointing a gun at him saying, "All of this came out of you, you battery?" But suddenly, Rais flips him around and snatches the gun from him, just like me in my prime. And guess what? It turns out to be Boss Musa, buddy. Rais tells him, "Don't ever call me battery again," and suddenly passes out and hits the floor. Later, he wakes up and heads to the mosque with Boss Musa so they can break their fast together. Musa asks him, "Why did you do all of that?" He replies, "Your men started it, boss, and I get pissed when someone makes fun of my glasses." He says, "All right, your entire herd of goats has been slaughtered, and the people here are breaking their fast with them, you genius. Tell me, what are you going to sell now?" He says, "I'll sell potatoes, and anyway, it's enough that these people ate from my goat herd, but I wish we could eat together." They keep joking around together, and later on, he and Sadiq are on the road heading back to their city. On the way, this guy keeps tailing them. Eventually, they get home and Sadiq tells him, "You're a total failure, man. All we've got right now is 3,700 out of the 100,000. What are we going to do now?" Suddenly, there's a knock on the door, and they're surprised to see it's the guy who was watching them on the train. "You again?" He tells them, "I'm from Arzani. My boss is an enemy of Boss Musa, and he's telling you to kill Boss Musa and you'll get all this money." He replies, "You've come to the wrong guy. Besides, there's no bad blood between me and Musa for me to kill him. Take your cash and get out of here." The guy laughs and says, "All right, I'm Nawab, Boss Musa's right-hand man. He's the one who sent me to test you before handing over the money, and you passed the test, Rais." Rais takes the money from him, and finally, life starts smiling at him. He uses it to buy a load of whiskey from abroad and sells it his own way. Anyway, because of the massive amounts of booze and the hassle of smuggling, he started injecting it into tomatoes and selling 3 for a rupee just so he can eat and catch a buzz. Anyway, Ashmuk is one of the big shots in power, and he throws a huge party where the drink of choice is bootleg whiskey. However, Officer Majmudar is undercover among the guests at the party, and at the right moment, he busts absolutely everyone at the party. The next day, the minister calls him in and tells him release Ashmuk and everyone who was at the party from jail. He says, "No, I'm not letting them out just on your word. You have to write me an official memo with pen and paper." He yells, "Are you crazy? I will definitely write you a memo, but it's gonna be a memo transferring you to Fatehpur so you can learn some respect." Later, Rais is playing a match with his buddies on the street, and he kicks the ball right through the neighbor girl's window. He goes to fetch it, and Aisha's mom, as usual, tells him to go upstairs and get it. But this time, he catches Aisha dancing, buddy. She finishes dancing, so he pulls her by her clothes and tells her, "You're the most beautiful girl in the world." She says, "Don't exaggerate, and tell me, when are we getting hitched?" He tells her, "When I achieve a part of my dreams." She leaves him and walks away. Meanwhile, Officer Majmudar heads to his newly transferred post and finds the situation totally chaotic, with the cops actually working for the smugglers. He kicks things off with Jairaj by stopping his trucks at a checkpoint loaded with massive amounts of whiskey. He seizes all the trucks, lines the whiskey bottles up on the ground, and has the media film him smashing the bottles. Jairaj finds out what happened and has no clue how to smuggle his goods anymore. The officer summons Rais, and Rais instantly goes down to the police station. The officer offers him milk tea and says, "So you're Rais. I've heard a ton about you and found out you used to work for Jairaj." He replies, "You said it yourself, sir. I used to work." He asks, "So does that mean you're not working for yourself right now?" He says, "Well, sir, all my business is legal, and I don't work against the law." Right then, the officer's phone rings. It's his secret informant telling him that a cargo truck is arriving for Rais tomorrow. He hangs up with the secret agent and tells Rais, "Everything will come to light, smart guy." Rais leaves, gathers his men, and tells them, "The plan is changing. We're going to split the incoming truck's load into 4 smaller trucks, each heading in a different direction. The main truck, which is supposed to have the goods, will just pass through the checkpoint completely normally." They actually pull off his plan, and the main truck reaches the checkpoint. The officer is waiting impatiently, and the second it shows up, he jumps up to search it, but finds absolutely nothing inside except a cup of milk tea. And just like that, Rais deals him his first slap. After that, Jairaj and his partners go to him and say, "We want you in our group so we can slip our goods past this obnoxious officer." He says, "I don't mind, but I get to be the union boss." They're all stunned, and this guy says, "How can you do this to us? Did you forget that Jairaj is the one who got you to where you are?" He replies, "I haven't forgotten, and I haven't forgotten when he gave me a 3-day deadline to scrape the money together for the goods. Now, I'm giving him 3 weeks to think it over and make whatever decision suits him." He walks away, but Rais told him, "Take this watch because the countdown's already started." And after that, Rais keeps hustling, and nothing can stop him, and every day his power and cash just keep growing bigger and bigger until finally he marries his childhood sweetheart. And when are you getting married, my friend? Just don't forget to invite me to your wedding. Anyway, the officer is absolutely furious and blocks every single entry point Rais could use to bring his goods in. At that point, Sonic goes to Rais and says, "The officer has completely shut down the roads and there's no way to get our stuff through." He asks, "What about the eastern route?" He says, "Not east, not west. The officer is locking down all the entrances." Do you think Rais is going to feel helpless, buddy? I swear that's not happening. They shut down the land routes, so he crosses through the river. The officer is standing right up on the bridge while he's passing the goods right underneath it in the water. He unloads his shipment and goes to Damla, the local boss, telling him, "I don't even know what to say to thank you for this help." He tells him, "I've heard a lot about you, and I'm glad we're doing business together, Rais." Jairaj finds out what happened, and his partner tells him, "We don't have any other option. If you want our business to survive, accept Rais's offer." He says, "Over my dead body." After that, Jairaj sends one of his men, a sniper, to take him out while he's at a party, but Rais spots him, vanishes from his sight. He swings this iron bar and smacks him right in the head. The sniper tries to run for it, but he doesn't realize who he's messing with, Rais with that Indian action sauce. He keeps chasing him and, oh my god, he jumps from insanely high places, lands perfectly safe without a scratch, and I totally buy it because, as you know, we're on planet India. Anyway, he keeps chasing him until he catches him, his guys pin him down, and he finishes him off. Afterward, Musa calls him and tells him that Jairaj was the one who sent the sniper to kill him. He hangs up and speeds straight to Jairaj's casino. He busts into the secret casino hall and starts tearing through his men one by one. Nobody can stop him. He heads upstairs, finds Jairaj's partners, wipes them out, and there's no one left but Jairaj. Rais gets teary-eyed, flashing back to their childhood days and the years he spent with him, but anyone who double-crosses Rais deserves to die without an ounce of mercy. He shoots him with his gun, shreds his heart, and walks away. The cops show up and turn the place upside down. Officer Majmudar tells his boss, "I'm absolutely certain Rais did this." He replies, "You just can't get Rais out of your head. I'm transferring you out of here to be done with your stubbornness." He says, "Sir, even if you transfer me, I'm not letting Rais go until I cuff him." And Rais, after killing off his biggest rivals in the city, takes total control of the market, going from a mid-level dealer to a massive, beastly kingpin who has the entire market under his boot. Following Officer Majmudar's transfer, he starts sending a massive booze truck to the police every single month just so the press can take pictures and trick the public into thinking they're doing their job and protecting the people. He also funnels heaps of cash to the Prime Minister and powerful politicians so they turn a blind eye. He shifts focus to his wife for a bit, they take a 2-week romantic break, and the result of all that romance, buddy, is that the missus is pregnant and bringing him a little Rais. After that, he throws a party and invites the minister, the prime minister, and the country's power players, including Ashmuk. He tells him, "I want to build on a plot of land and I need you to have my back." He says, "I'll take 30% of the land." He replies, "And we have a deal." Now, even though the officer got transferred out of the area, he still won't leave Rais alone. He raids Damla, his top guy, and seizes the stash of Rais's liquor he had. Rais goes to the prime minister and says, "Majmudar arrested Damla, my #1 guy." He replies, "The man you're talking about is an officer, not a toy. He's not under control like you imagine." He shoots back, "Then on what grounds are you taking my money every month? If we let this officer flex his power any further, he might actually get to me. And if I go down, I'm not going alone. I'm taking you and all your cronies right down with me." The Prime Minister picks up the phone and tells them transfer Officer Majmundar far away to any place, just completely isolate him. And sure enough, they move him to a place filled with files that have been gathering dust for hundreds of years. He's shocked, but there happens to be a wiretapping device in that place, so he fires it up and starts monitoring all of Rais's calls. Later, Ashmuk goes to Rais with a blueprint, saying, "Just like we agreed, your cut comes out to 20 acres. He says, "Perfect." Meanwhile, Deputy Pasha is gearing up for his election campaign, running under the slogan, "No to the liquor trade." Rais calls him up with the officer listening in on the whole thing and says, "How are you, Pasha? I want you in on some business with me." He says, "What business? My election campaign is about to kick off." He tells him, "You know this campaign of yours is going to mess up my work. We've got to find a solution." He replies, "Look for a solution on your own time. I'm moving forward with my campaign," and hangs up. He calls him again and says, "At least change your route and don't bring your campaign through my turf." He says, "Impossible. My campaign is starting and I won't change its route," and hangs up for the second time. Rais calls him a third time and says, "You know that if you bring your campaign into my area, it'll be your last campaign," and smashes the phone in a total rage. Afterward, the Prime Minister calls him and says, "Are you insane, Rais? Threatening Pasha over the phone?" He replies, "Why are you so upset? Pasha's even your enemy. Besides, I didn't say it in front of the press, so it was strictly between him and me," and he ends the call. And the officer seizes the opportunity and tells his spy, "I want you to go keep an eye on Rais while he kills Pasha." Pasha actually kicks off his campaign, and Rais is sitting right there, completely ready for him. Sure enough, Pasha passes through his neighborhood and Rais steps out with his crew and the locals, throwing booze bottles right at his feet. He lights one bottle on fire and smashes it with another, setting him and everyone around him ablaze. He starts attacking his men, and you know, buddy, anyone who stands in Rais's way deserves that Indian action sauce. He tosses his guys left and right until he totally wipes him out. He walks up to Pasha and says, "You're not in my league to be challenging me." He breaks his bones using the microphone he was holding, leaves him there, and walks away after completely trashing his campaign. After that, all hell breaks loose, and the press holds a press conference with the Prime Minister, telling him Rais followed through on his threat and ruined Pasha's campaign. Where is the security presence? Where are the police? A guy like this could murder us in our own homes. He tells them that's impossible. Within 24 hours, Rais will be locked up and punished for everything he's done. And true to his word, he goes to Rais afterward and tells him, "You shouldn't have done that. You just flipped the world upside down on us. Look, I'm gonna take you and lock you up for just 3 days to cool things down, and then I'll get you out." He asks him, "And what am I supposed to do about my business outside?" He says, "I'll sort out everything you need while you're inside." So he actually turns himself in and goes to jail. The next day, Officer Majmudar pays him a visit, and Rais says, "Welcome, sir. Did you come to gloat over me? Don't worry, my time here won't last long, and if you think about coming back, we'll just get you transferred again." He tells him, "That was the old days, Rais. You got played, you idiot. The Prime Minister and Pasha have teamed up and their feud is over." As for you, you're staying right here. If you don't believe me, read this newspaper carefully." Rais is totally shocked, and later his wife and Sadiq visit him in jail. He tells Sadiq, "Set up a campaign for me and nominate me in the elections. It's the only way I'm getting out of here." So he actually nominates him for the elections, and because he helps people and everyone loves him, he wins in an absolute landslide. Afterward, he gets out of jail and the people of his neighborhood are overjoyed to see their ruler released. Then he takes his wife to his plot of land and tells her, "This is my lifelong dream. I'm going to build a home for every single person of my people. I'll build them a huge language school and a massive hospital in honor of my mom, and Dr. Parsi, the one who made my glasses, will be the one running the hospital." She tells him, "Don't worry, you'll make all your dreams come true." And he actually gathers the locals and tells them, "You guys just pitch in a little bit of cash so I can finish building on our land, and every one of you will get your own private home, and I guarantee you a decent life." They tell him, "Boss, your word is a promise, and we've got your back, even if it kills us." True to form, he collects the funds from the residents and kicks off the construction on the land, and everything is going exactly according to Rais's plan. But things don't always go as planned, buddy. A massive curfew drops on the whole state, and nobody can even step out of their house. But Rais doesn't turn his back on his people. Every single day, he preps food and delivers it straight to their doors. He blows through all his cash and even borrows more just to feed them. Debts are closing in on him from every side, and he has no clue where to find the money to keep the construction going. So he goes to his godfather Musa and tells him, "I need some cash from you, and I'll pay it back real soon." He says, "I don't want you to pay me back. I've got some gold coming from overseas, and I want you to smuggle it in your way, and I'll give you all the cash you want." He says, "I'm in." He gets his buddy Damla to smuggle the gold by sea, and Rais takes the money, pays off all his debts, and finally sleeps soundly. But he wakes up to the news of fresh bombings in the city. The police turn the place upside down and figure out that these explosives were smuggled in by the pirate Damla. They grab one of Damla's guys and beat the daylights out of him until he snitches on them, and they confirm that Rais is the one who slipped the explosives in with the gold. After that, Damla calls Rais and tells him, "Musa played us and hid explosives inside the gold. Try to run from where you are, and I'm going to run too, because this time, the cops aren't just going to arrest us, they're going to finish us off right on the spot." Rais hangs up the phone and completely zones out, not knowing whether to grieve for the people whose deaths he caused or to be furious at Musa for betraying him. Right before Damla can even try to escape, he sees the police pulling up to his spot, so he kills himself before the cops can do it. Rais sends his wife and son into hiding with Sadiq and sets out to get revenge for the people who died because of Musa. He tracks him down to his place, and the guard at the door tells the assistant that Rais is here. He tells them, "Take his weapon and let him in." Rais hands over his gun, walks in to face Musa and says, "You tricked me and made me smuggle explosives into the country. You made me kill my own people with my own hands." His assistant steps up to his face and says, "Calm down, Rais, for your own good." Do you think Rais is gonna get scared, buddy? I swear that's not happening. He snaps his arm, tosses him aside, and starts breaking the bones of his armed men one by one. Idiots, they don't know they're up against Rais packing a ton of that Indian action sauce. He entirely wipes out his men, goes over to sit next to Musa, wipes the blood off his glasses, and says, "Whoever double-crosses Rais won't be around to see the fallout." And he stabs him with his glasses right in the neck. And oh my god, buddy, the glasses slide right in like it's nothing. Even the glasses love the action over there. Anyway, he finishes him off, leaves the spot, and goes to find his wife and son, but he realizes the police have him boxed in from every direction. They aren't totally sure if the guy in the car is Rais or not, and the officer tells them, "If it's Rais, take him out immediately." Turns out it really is Rais, but he's brought the press along and is walking right in the middle of them. The officer tells a squad, "Nobody shoot," and Rais walks up to him, fully surrendering. He pulls Sadiq into a hug and stares at his wife and son, completely heartbroken. He just keeps looking at them until he fades from their sight. He tells the officer, "I really didn't want to die back there." He takes off his chain and glasses, telling him, "Give these to my wife and tell her the truth. Tell her that I wasn't running away from you." The officer takes him out to the land where all his dreams lay and says, "Turn around, Rais." He replies, "Do you think I'm scared? Fire your bullets right in my face." The officer aims his gun at him and hits him with the first shot. and he flashes back to his mom. He hits him with the second shot, and he remembers his wife and son. He hits him with the third shot, and his whole life flashes before his eyes, but he still manages to get back on his feet. The officer hits him with the fourth shot, and he hits the ground, unable to stand back up ever again. That right there is Rais, and that's his story, buddy. And this is where the movie ends. And just like that, the journey of the man who possessed the mind of a merchant and the guts of a warrior came to a close. Rais didn't fall to a coward's bullet. Instead, he chose his own end the moment he realized his empire was built on the blood of the innocent. Rais passed away, leaving Asia behind all alone with their kid so she could tell him the tale of his father, who started from absolute zero to become an uncrowned king, a man adored by the poor, hunted by the law, who died with his head held high.